In this video, I'm going to discuss mental health and how you can deal with some of the stressors that are going on with your situation. Oftentimes, this process can feel so overwhelming that you feel like there's no hope. You feel like everything's against you, and it's really hard to really see a pathway through this. I know that because I was stuck in that myself. There was a significant amount of time where I felt the exact same way, and it was really hard to basically muscle through every day. This is incredibly tough whenever you're in the middle of the family court system and you're really struggling with trying to navigate that, deal with your attorney, try to co-parent with your ex, try to plead with them to let you have time with your kids. And you're basically stuck against a stone wall where no matter what you do, they don't want to work with you. They don't want to co-parent with you. And unfortunately, the way the system is, it's not set up to be anything other than that. It's really set up to promote an adversarial type situation. And unfortunately, with the toxic ex, it's actually in their best interest to play these stupid games. The thing you have to remember is if you can have the perseverance to just stick with it and keep fighting this, most of the time you'll be victorious or you'll have a significant positive outcome. The caveat is if you make a mistake, make a significant mistake, you do things to alienate your kids, so you fall for their trap so that you actually are doing things that facilitate turning your kids against you. And then the last one is just running out of money. If you can handle those first few things, if you can keep yourself calm and stable as much as possible and not react to their provocations, you have a really good chance of succeeding in family court and ultimately getting at least close to 50-50. Now I know that for some people can seem like, wait a minute, no, hold on a second. I don't want the ex I want them to have the least amount of time. I want 70-20 or 70-30 or I want 80-20. I want them to see the kids every other weekend. And I get that, but the problem is that without a significant event, which is what a lot of this is designed to do, it's a really tough argument to say, why should the other parent not have equal access to their children? A lot of the courts are pushing towards that. So without a good argument, now there are some states that are trying to move to automatic 50-50. And I think in some ways that helps these toxic divorces because then the abusive person can't use the court system and dangle the kids as carrots to try to get the best deal they can get, or to destroy the other parent in the process because of the legal battle is so great. So if you're pushing towards that, let me back up. If you are wanting 50-50, if one person's wanting 50-50, barring a significant event, and they haven't agreed to it, they haven't agreed to something before, there's a really good chance it's probably going to go that way. If you really don't want them to have it, you are going to have to fight tooth and nail and just drag your feet and make it a living hell, which will have consequences later on in your life. That's about the only option you really have. That's what my ex tried to do with me. There's a lot of people on the channel they're either currently in that or that's the situation they were in when they started this whole thing. The complexities come whenever you're dealing with a narcissist because they enjoy the conflict and they enjoy the control. If you're dealing with a narc who wants 50-50 and they're just doing it because you don't want them to have it, right? And you're just fighting that battle, they're getting all their narcissistic supply from being able to cause you stress and anxiety and to try to drive you crazy, basically. And oftentimes in that situation, what happens is you fight for it and you lose and they get 50-50 and then they realize they never really wanted it in the first place and they give it back. So you have to understand your adversary and what you're dealing with. The same thing is, and the hard part though is whenever you're dealing with somebody who has the kids the majority of the time, they're the narcissist person. You're trying to beg and plead with them to stop fighting to stop this, and they won't do it because they got you on a leash and they have control. Most of the time, you'll be able to get to a situation where you're going to get more time with your kids. The problem with all this is that you can basically get really worn down and beat down and feel like, what are you even fighting for? And if you've made some mistakes, or if you haven't made mistakes, but your ex has been able to start to turn the kids against you and they're lashing out at you, then you really can get in a situation where you're really questioning what you're doing, and it can really mess with your mind and mess with your sanity while you're going through this. You have to stay focused on the goal. You have to stay focused on the end game. Don't get wrapped up in the little dot. Don't get wrapped up in the little point right now. Look at the bigger picture. Keep focused on what you want. Don't allow yourself to get freaked out and agree to something because you haven't seen your kids in a month or two, and they're trying to say, well, if we settle now and we'll let you see the kids, but you have to agree to a court order that gives you weekends, right? Like, let's say for instance you're not seeing your kids at all, and they're like, well, okay, you know what, I'll let you have, let's finish this now and you can have every other weekend. And you're like, oh my God, I haven't seen my kids in 6 months, and you agree to it. Well, now if you try to go back later to change it, it's going to be really tough, right? So it's the perseverance to stay focused on the long game. And this is important throughout all of this, right? It's very critically important during the divorce and the court proceedings. But even as you proceed on, whenever you have firm orders, you have to maintain that focus on the big picture so that you don't take the bait whenever your ex tries to provoke you. You focus on keeping your environment stable, and you focus on building the best relationship and the best stable environment for your kids. If you can do that, then most of the time, the crap that they try to do to turn you or turn the kids against you is going to be moot. The caveat with that is your kids will throw you under the bus from time to time. You have to make sure that you don't take that bait and lash out on them, because they're kind of at this pivot point. And if something happens and you get really angry and you lash out, they could basically be driven into the camp of the toxic parent. Bottom line, everything that's happening right now isn't your life forever. Stay focused on the long game. Stay focused on keeping yourself calm and stable as much as possible. When they're throwing crap at you and they're playing games and they're sitting on their high horse and controlling the whole thing, or at least you feel that way, don't fall for the bait. Do not fall for that trap of negatively responding, because it's a gotcha. They're waiting for you to make those mistakes so they can use it against you in court to justify their version of the story. And that is whenever you get yourself into problems, when the court will say, well, okay, the one person is saying that the other person is unstable. We're seeing it. We're going to side with this person because we do see some of this information. So keep yourself calm. You got this. Just take it one day at a time and realize that this is a long, protracted battle. So on that, I'm going to wrap this up, and I will chat with you on the next video. Take care. Bye.